Well, it's been a week since we've had the announcement for Train Sim World 6, so we're going to be looking at a few things to listen out for or to look out for. Anyway, cue that intro. Well, welcome aboard passengers, Mega Sim, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, click the subscribe button and like this video for more content. As we know, it's been a whole week since the big reveal of all the content for Train Sim World 6, and that was in the Dovetail Direct. Take a look back at our videos looking into that a little bit more detail. But we're going to be looking at a few things that we're going to be able to look forward to with these new routes, new trains, and some new features to keep us all on our toes. So remember, launch date is 30th of September, except if you pre-order the deluxe or special edition, you get 5 days early access. Let's go for the first one. Be prepared for those random events. So sometimes life is too easy on the rails. Once you've completed the tutorials, you're familiar with the favourite train, high-speed run along the coast or frequent stop in city commuter service, it can be a little bit too relaxing. So what we need is something unexpected. So in Train Sim World 6 we'll be able to head to the settings menu and set random events to enabled. And this will set live 2 different kinds of events to occur randomly during our journey. The first one is signal delays. So sometimes signals aren't automated, they are operated by real people in real signal boxes. So not all signal changes are instant. They have been in Train Sim World, but with random events enabled, they may take a little longer to clear than expected. And you may be held on a platform for longer than you'd hoped, or will need to keep an eye out for what you are expecting a signal to display. That may mean that the order of trains may alter, you may get stuck behind a train that's overtaking you, or even vice versa, further disrupting that signalling order that you might have been expecting. So this is key for players who operate their trains with safety systems enabled. So PZB and LZB in Germany, AWS and TPWS in the UK, and ACSES and ATC in USA. They all react to the signal aspects and knock-on effects with signal delays. And that may result in other unexpected aspects during your journey. So if you're playing Riviera, remember to switch that DRA on if there's a red at the end of the platform, because it's just to remind you to check the signal aspect before you depart. Signal delays will be available in the new routes and will be applied to back catalogue routes for Train Sim World 6 players. So that's good, applying to back catalogue routes as well. Temporary speed restrictions. So the other random event is the enforcement of temporary speed restrictions. In reality, these are put in place to guard against track work or infrastructure considerations, and it's denoted by these temporary signs being placed on the track side. So they will appear beside the track side to give us a visual indication of where these restrictions start and end. And the HUD will also react to these restrictions, giving you a clearer guide as to when you need to slow down to comply with the restrictions. After reviewing the complexities of adding non-authentic assets to certain routes, so modern assets on a historic route, German signage appearing on a Dutch route, this is only going to be implementing for the launch of Train Sim World 6 routes, and they will be reviewing opportunity to add to older content in the future. This is a cool random event. Now, in real life, that's not going to happen, because if you're going to be doing a route, you should know where the temporary restrictions are. You are told before you leave pretty much, but I think this is quite nice to have on here just to kind of change it up a bit for us. Anyway, expect the unexpected with train faults. So get ready to fight gremlins in Train Sim World 6. Well, not literally, even though we may think. Anyway, the train faults option toggle to enabled will mean that there will be a selection of equipment failures. Types of faults that can occur will include wiper failures, lighting failures, tilting failures, so trains with tilting systems, and turbo failures with trains with turbo systems. Now, when a failure occurs, a pop-up will appear on screen that explains the fault and gives guidance on how you can overcome it. And this may require you to vacate the seat and go looking for a breaker or a fuse to reset, adding a significant delay to your service. Now, once enabled, any one of the relevant faults for your train could occur at any time, or not at all. As a result, no two journeys might ever be the same again. Just wanted to mention on here, these types of faults are something that Dovetail have created, these 4 faults. But please bear in mind that it's not just Dovetail that are going to do this. We've got third-party routes happening. Could they create new faults specific to the trains and locos that they are putting in? I hope so. That would be a really good idea, because having those standard 4, it gets boring. If you have specific ones for specific routes or specific trains, that is going to be good, because it's going to be random and you don't know what's coming and you're just going to come up with it. Like, I'm going to say an example, but don't take me on this. An engine needs to be shut down on one of the cabs of the Voyager. Now, that probably won't happen because it's not mentioned here. But that would be a really cool feature for a future train, or even something that Dovetail may put in. We're at the start of these faults, but we could have these in the future. Listen up, announcements are here for Train Sim World. So, we all like announcements, and this is what's coming to Train Sim World 6. There's a full implementation of onboard passenger and platform announcements, and they add a significant piece to the big immersion puzzle. We can now enjoy an audible feast of varied service patterns and station stops from beyond the cab, whether checking tickets with the public in coaches using conductor mode or roaming about the platforms hunting down route track collectibles. But how do they work? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to watch this video, which is 5 minutes long. I'm going to keep it silent so you can listen to it and watch it. And it's showing us a busy morning at Exeter on the Riviera line, just to depict how announcements add that extra layer of immersion during timetable services. So we're going to be driving a 150, we're going to be at Exeter, so you're going to listen to those announcements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that now.
The next station is Exeter St Thomas. This is a Great Western Railway service to Paignton. We are now approaching Exeter St Thomas.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform and take care when stepping down from the train.
This is Exeter St Thomas. This is a Great Western Railway service to Paynton. The next station is Starcross.
Now, what are your thoughts on that? I think that's really cool how you've got the two different voices on the onboard announcements. Now, it is very GWR-like because it is for the GWR, and we're going to kind of expand on that, but what do you think of that? Now, that is AI. I think that sounds pretty good. You can't have the real stuff because there's licensing involved with that, but that is pretty accurate to have on this route. And also having all the station announcements as well, I think that is really nice. Now, we know that generic announcements have been a feature on previous Train-Sim-World routes, but a significant amount of work has gone into converting the PIS, which is the Passenger Information System, data into that audible format, because it's only been primarily served to display the dynamic information board, so you know, if it's late, delayed, etc., within the stations themselves. So there's a formula that they've created this announcement for each and every train arriving in the brand new routes. So busy stations like Exeter, St David's, Hoboken and Leipzig will have a cacophony of call-outs detailing the arrival and departure of express trains, local trains and their final destinations for you to hear amongst railway passenger life. And also you may have heard that you hear it in the cab as well, because you may think, you know, train drivers, you don't really get to experience that announcement, but there is a speaker, a toggleable speaker inside the cab that you can change in the settings menu, and it allows you to hear the announcements whilst you're driving. So you get that pure operating experience if you want and switch it off, or if you really want to hear them coming up, you can do that. But it's always dealing with the unexpected, so there are some distractions if you want to on there. Now, there is also passenger ambience, so these are sound effects of chatter and bustling within the passenger compartments. So that's quite cool as well. So when there are busy trains, every seat full, you'll feel busy and crowded with the noise, whereas quiet trains, it is pretty silent. So with conductor with guard mode, players will hear this most clearly as they walk through the train, moving baggage, checking tickets, the usual. And this will be available in Train-Sim-World 6 routes and onwards. Now hopefully we're going to get that in the GWE update, but we'll see about that. I can't remember if that's official or if it's coming. I can't remember. So get the most out of service layers. So whether we're a long-time Train Real World, you are a Train Real World fan, but you're also a Train-Sim-World fan. So there are dozens of add-ons in our collection, or a new player that you're looking to add more trains and gameplay. Then layers are something you want to make use of. So service layers effectively take the add-ons of other DLCs and places them within a set timetable. So it kind of expands what gives you more of a busier gameplay session, more playable services for a specific route. Now, as a reminder on this, it is being defaulted to off on Train Sim World 6 because there's a lot of stuff going on with PS4, Xbox One, people with PCs that aren't as powerful. It's causing a problem which is crashing, I'm guessing. So it's kind of helping those guys out by manually updating their layers so it doesn't all go right, here's everything, and your machine kind of shutting down. So it is going to default off, and you have to either go into each route and switch them on individually, or, which was a really good option that was requested, was should there be a default all to be on. So it's defaulted off, but you go into the settings, you'll be able to say I want all the layers on permanently, and that's what you are able to do. But when you first go into Train Sim World, that's the first thing it's going to say is just a reminder, everything is defaulted to off. You need to switch it on if you want it. Now, the layer selector was first introduced last year, and it does remain a feature in Train Sim World 6. So it allows players to alter those layers for a specific route. So if you don't want the default, or because the default is off, if you don't want all to be on, you can go into a specific route and choose what layers you want on and off. As a big example, if you want GWE, we're going to have Bakerloo line trains, we're going to have 484s kind of stepping in as district lines. We're going to have a lot of these extra layers, Heathrow Expresses and GWR unbranded 387s. You may not want them, so this is where you can enable them to be switched on or off. So that is what's really nice. Now, all three routes will feature playable or AR layers from previous Train Sim World add-ons, and they will be detailed further in each of the route-themed articles published in those coming weeks. So as a taster, they will include add-ons required to see freight trains operating on Morristown line, add-ons supporting playable steam trains, freight and classic diesel traction for Riviera, and a full suite of additional layers for the Leipzig Dresden from a host of German add-ons. As a note, some services may not be available for Xbox One and PS4 console platforms. Now, we're going to have new trains, new sounds, new liveries. There's a lot of new content coming, and also some refinements. So some things that are going to be included: the DBBR 411 ICET will come in a new variant with a green stripe. The new DBBR 294 could be used both as a shunting and a freight loco. The GWR 802 has a full power diesel engine and overhead line functionality, so if you do want it on electric, it will work. The 150 has had a full suite of authentic sound recordings that will also be applied to the TFW Class 50 as well, 150. So if you are on TSW6 with Cardiff City Network, you will get that backdate of authentic sound recordings, and they are amazing. And there's been tweaks, as there's been work being done with that all the time to make them sound amazing. The cross-country Class 220 Voyager will officially be layered in to the Birmingham crew route by All Aboard Studios. That is something that's really nice to announce, because they are going to have that in there from Birmingham to crew. We know that the Voyager's there, and we're going to see it in the route with a layer. The Arrow 3 has no reverser. That's a weird one. So the power handle on the left simply turns clockwise for forwards or counterclockwise for reverse, with a separate brake handle on the right. And the ALP 45DP is dual powered, so it does have a fully functioned diesel engine and pantograph for overhead wires. So there's some really cool refinements, improvements, and with those new trains, layers, all sorts of stuff going on. So there is more new content and new countries coming soon. So we already know about that. So highlights include the Stuttgart Hellbronn featuring the DBBR 140, We've got the NEC New York to Stamford. We've got the Portuguese route, the Lisbon to Setúbal. We've got the first Czech route with the Liberec to Starapaka from Vector. And sorry, it's Virtua via 360 for the Portuguese one. Union Workshop have got the Tadami line, Japanese. And Just Trains will be the West Coast Main Line Crewe to Preston in the 80s. So that is going to be nice as well with a Class 86. But the first route add-on that we're going to get post-launch will be the West Coast Main Line Birmingham to Crewe. And they're also working on the Avanti West Coast Class 805 Loco add-on. We can also look forward to previously announced add-ons from High Iron Simulations, Just Trains and the TSG team in the coming months, following the launch of Train Sim World 6. But yeah, the Birmingham Crewe route is amazing. Also with the layer for the 220 Voyager, that's going to be nice. And that Avanti West Coast Class 805, the Evro, that is a really nice train, I will admit. And I've had, some good workings on that, more than the 802 GWR. Now the 802 GWR is great, it's good, but I love the livery of the Avanti. It does look really nice, and it is dual powered as well. It does have the diesel and the electric, unlike the 801 we have with East Coast Main Line, which is electric only with tiny little diesel engines for depot moves, within the depot. Anyway, I think that's been quite fun doing the news article for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, but give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more information and more videos from the Mega Sim and also Train Real World. I will see you on that next one. This is Mega Sim out of here. See you soon, guys. Bye.